Negan to Tekken,
what does that
true
actually
Tekken
mean?
God.
Being able to guess, right?
People say you need good defense, but what does that actually mean? Being able to guess right. Tekken, the defense concept in Tekken is very, very vast and complicated. And when people talk about defense, in general, it's usually character knowledge, it's movement, and then it's being able to probably whiff punish and actually space your attacks. Not only your character, but being able to actually place. You have a very good understanding of character hitboxes, because when a character in Tekken does an attack, they enlarge their hitbox. And Koreans are probably the best in the world at, they actually see Tekken as 3D visual space geometry. Space frames are secondary to knowledge about the hitboxes, because if a Mishima player spams electric from afar, trying to catch you running in, Koreans always know, oh, on the whiff there, his arm extends his body's hitbox so that he's easier to whiff punish. So we can take advantage of the fact that he's just spamming electrics. So that's one concept, but as I mentioned before, you have three big concepts there, but the two real titans are movement and character knowledge. And movement alone, just being able, you know, in Tekken, it's just grueling movement. What happens if I hold back? Heihachi retreats like a person of his age. He's 79. My diaper's full. I mean, this doesn't work. If I do repeated backdashes, it looks like this. Also, terribly slow. If I do a Korean backdash, it looks like this. So your only viable method of retreating quickly in Tekken, and this is like defense 101. Oh, my opponent is throwing annoying stuff, I want to back away. You have to be able to Korean backdash. This is obscenely hard to do, and most people give up. There's so much practice in Tekken doing something as fundamentally basic as retreating. Very difficult. And then sidestepping is an art in itself, like how do I maximize the potential of a single sidestep or a sidewalk, and to which side? How do I counterattack with a sidestep? And then character knowledge can be discussed a million years. And here you have the fact that people who've been playing Tekken for 20 years, the top Koreans, get caught off guard once in a while. Like, oh, what the fuck was that? What's this hitbox? There's literally 100 moves per character, I would say, is the standard. You have 45 characters, that's 4,500 moves. And then you have to take into account that a single move has multiple properties. What does it do on normal hit? What does it do on counter hit? What does it do on block? What does it do if it hits someone who's crouching? This move has a specific property on a crouching opponent. So, there you have 4,500 moves with about 5 properties. You know, how much does it track if someone's sidestepping? So how many parameters are we talking about? 4,500 times 5 is what? 2,250? Or am I completely off? I'm probably being dumb as fuck. No, wait. No, I'm completely off. Yeah, my math is completely off. 25,000 of 22,500. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm thinking more about Tekken than actual numbers here. But there really is an endless amount of information to take in, and in the command list, a string like this this is seen as one move. But again, we can break this down into a jab, into jab back 2, because I don't have to do the full string. So we have 1 back 2, 1 back 2, 1. That's seen as one move. And all of those free hits have independent properties we have to take in. Jab is completely different from jab back 2. Jab back 2 is completely different from jab back to 1. So there is, yeah, it's just, there's a reason why people say, you know, a pro Tekken player has no girlfriend, he has no kids, he has no job, he lives on welfare, he doesn't make his own food, his grandma makes his food, he doesn't wash his clothes, he rarely leaves his apartment, he has 3 pairs of glasses at once.
I know how to do this with selective application seems critical. I asked Aras on stream, but he doesn't care anymore. Perhaps you could make a guide? Thank you.
But Tekken is it's just insanely complicated. It's too complicated for its own good. If I was the designer of Tekken 8, I would make this easy. This would just be mashing back. Right now it's doing a very complicated series of inputs. It's too hard. It's an unnecessary what's it called? Hinder to people trying to get into Tekken. And maybe characters don't need 100 moves each. In my opinion, a barrier. Thank you very much, chat. Unnecessary barrier on new players. But I hope this explained a little bit of Tekken to you. But that is defense. So when you said when to duck and when to rise up again, this is very interesting. When to duck and when to rise up again, you basically described how it is to play against Brian Fury. Brian Fury, characters are very different in Tekken. Brian has excellent space control. What that means is that he has long range attacks, which will hit you if you backdash, and his homing moves are some of the best in the game, making sure that you do not step Brian. You don't step Brian. So with him, it's mostly about holding back, and sometimes, as you said, ducking, in case he wants to throw a low at you, like his low soccer kick. But now take a completely different matchup. You're playing against Kazuya. Suddenly, what you described goes out the window. Because if you go at it like this, am I gonna duck or am I gonna stand block? Kazuya is overpowered because his 50-50 is too strong. So Kazuya, suddenly the whole matchup is about, should I move backwards or am I sidewalking? So Brian, again, do I duck or do I stand guard? Versus versus Kazuya, do I move backwards or do I move sideways? Or do I pressure him? Because he's weak to pressure. So Tekken is super interesting. Characters are very diverse. They have their own identity. But this is stuff you understand when you've been playing the game for many years. You know, when I played this game for 10 years and I didn't take it super seriously, I didn't know a thing about the game. You know, so it's... but I'm a massive Tekken nerd. I'm gonna come out and just say it. I'm gonna be frank. I'm a Tekken nerd. But it's very interesting.